Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stone Zone, the place where I blabber about Japanese cartoons. And today we shall be traveling back in time to our first experiences of Dr. Stone. The first episode, the first chapter, whatever you will. As we all know, the first impressions of an anime are one of the most important parts of the enjoyment, and your continuation of the anime depends on it. If the first episode slash chapter is mediocre to good-ish, then you're most likely to watch the entire thing, and vice versa. Today we will be discussing whether the start of Dr. Stone is good, and why some people could turn away from this anime due to it. Most people say that the anime starts to get good right off the bat, but is that true? Let's find out. Also, let me know when you think Dr. Stone gets good in the comments down below. And did you know that pigs don't sweat? Yeah, pretty cool, I know. So pay me back by subscribing, please. Now, judging from the research that I have done, which by the way, research is like reading a lot of Reddit posts, like a lot. Oh, and asking friends, that's research too. So, judging from the research that I have done, most people seem to agree that Dr. Stone gets good from the very beginning. But why? Some would say it's because of the intriguing plot, interesting MC, or simply because of the amazing music. In my opinion though, it's all of these things. The main character is cool, funny, and smart, and the plot definitely draws your attention, and the music is just oh so good. Now, time to state my opinion on this. To be completely honest, I didn't think Dr. Stone had a perfect first episode. Episode 2 is where this anime takes off, with the revelation of Tsukasa and his ideologies, plus Senku's insanely badass response to that. The reason I don't feel like episode 1 is great is because I feel like it tricked me into thinking that this anime was going to have a decent bit of romance. Now don't get me wrong, it definitely does a great job of making you want to watch the next episode, which is the purpose of first episodes, but it focuses too much on Taiju, who becomes irrelevant in the show for a long time. I expected both Taiju and Senku to be the protagonists of this anime, but was scammed. And, well, it's not good if you get bamboozled on the first episode. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that the first episode of Dr. Stone randomly has romance implemented, which is negligible to the story later on. It would have been really nice to see more of Senku instead of Taiju, who just becomes irrelevant for the entirety of Season 1. The first episode barely managed to get me to watch the second, and it could have definitely done better by focusing more on the main character. But when does Dr. Stone really start to get good? This answer is obviously subjective. While most people say that it gets good already on the first episode, others say it's episode 5, and some say episode 8, because that's when Gen is introduced. In my personal opinion though, Dr. Stone really takes off on episode 2, because I want to be cool and quirky because it displays the epicness of Senku. Yes, I know, I could have worded that better, but I couldn't, and I'm sorry. The scene where Tsukasa tells a story and Senku's reply to that was what made me hooked on Dr. Stone. Besides, Doraemon was a show that I grew up watching, and it was cool to see Senku refer to that. Senku's knowledge was further displayed in this episode, and was much better compared to the first one. The fact that Tsukasa was going to be the villain was hinted at pretty well in this episode, and I enjoyed the lack of romance. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike romance, but it doesn't fit in well with a shonen anime like Dr. Stone. So moving on to a whole new level of weird, some people like to say that Dr. Stone starts to get good by episode 5, and if you don't enjoy it until then, you should drop the show. The reason I disagree with this is that you don't really need to get to episode 5 to find out the overall feel of this anime. The first 2 episodes display the vibe and energy of Dr. Stone pretty well, so it shouldn't be hard to judge this anime after watching them. If someone dislikes shows with a lot of energy and unrealism, they would immediately turn away after the first or second episode. If the person does have a lot of time on their hands though, I would suggest watching until episode 8. No, not because of the introduction of Gen. Well, partly. The reason I say this is because if you watch until episode 8, you get to consume both formats of Dr. Stone. What I mean by this is that the first 5 episodes consist of only Taiju and Senku planning to rebuild civilization on their own, but then in the second format, it consists of an entire village cooperating with Senku and no Taiju at all. In conclusion, Dr. Stone doesn't have an amazing first episode, because it focuses on a character that isn't going to be referenced in the show for a while, therefore tricking us into thinking that he will. The real epicness of Dr. Stone starts to show in episode 2 due to it focusing more on the MC and foreshadowing the villain. You don't really have to watch until episode 5 to judge if the show is for you or not. The first and second episodes do it perfectly. If someone does have enough time though, it would be better to watch until episode 8 because then you're able to consume both formats of Dr. Stone and you get to meet again. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Subscribe and like and everything like that. Okay, bye.